going to Texas.
Go see my mama.
Go see Tammy's mommy. Okay, here's a good one. This was actually somebody had put comments in here about buying medications for dogs from Canada. And the name of the place is Pet Pharma Canada. And I went and checked it out, and the answer is you can buy all the medications that you have to get a prescription for in the United States. You can buy Pet Pharma Canada and get it shipped to you in the United States. So I thought that was really nice, good to know. I'm going to order some to see how that works out. I didn't really check prices really thoroughly, but it looked like it was on par with what you'd expect to pay. So one of the problems we run into is it's getting harder and harder and harder to buy drugs that are designed for your pets, because now you've got to have a vet prescription, and I gotta be careful here, because I'm not trying to tell people that they should go do their own diagnosis on dogs. Be smart about this, but there is definitely times when you can absolutely know what you should give your dogs if you Google it and maybe follow some of the stuff that we recommend. But the thing is that you can now go get those drugs without having to have the intervention of a vet and all the delays, expenses, and everything else going with it. Now, there are quite a few drugs that you can get without a prescription. There are prescription drugs anyway, and they're typically designed for fish. So I use these a lot. For instance, metronidazole is an antibiotic that you use for giardia. You can buy that. It's called fish zole. Amoxicillin, you can buy that for fish. It's called fish mox.
Fish flex.
Fish flex is sulfaxin.
That's what I took. Can you tell?
You did? I mean, Tammy had some. I don't remember what it was.
I really took it.
Yeah.
It cured it, whatever I had.
Yeah, it was.
I would tell you, but I don't want to tell you.
Well, it was hoof and mouth disease.
No.
Is what she had, right?
Yeah, no.
Wasn't it?
No. No.
Good. So a fish pen, penicillin. All of those things you can.
Gotta Google to see how much you need.
We're not going to give you dosages because
we're not going to tell you.
No, because there's.
You got to find that out.
There's some legal things here that we just don't want to have you step into some mess and start saying it's our fault. That's the reason we're not giving you dosages.
We're just giving you ideas, but you need to take responsibility yourself to find out how much you need, and also for your dog.
We know what. Oh, yeah, no. We know what the dosages are, but we're not going to tell you. And not going to tell you not because we're being mean. It's because you need to go take responsibility for this. We're just going to tell you where you can go get it. As far as using those medications and stuff, I don't know what the legality of that is. I can tell you this: if you came to me and I gave you penicillin, that would be completely illegal. Yeah. We're not doing that. But for you to take it, for me to take it for myself, I think that's probably okay. I don't know. I may be wrong about that. But anyway, but the point here is, I thought that was pretty useful information. The Pet Pharma Canada, you can go buy all these products and they'll ship them to you, and you can buy them without a prescription. So I thought that was some pretty useful information. Well, let's just go over a couple more here while we got you watching us.
When I get into traffic, I'm going to be.
Someone's asking about worming dogs. So one of the things that we are starting to do, and we're going to start doing it on a regular basis, is pre-worming mums before they have their puppies with Safeguard. And I've read a few things about this, and I've had other people tell me about this. Is what a lot of places are recommending now is that regardless whether your dog has worms, that you start about 2 weeks before the litter and you start giving some worming medication.
Now, what about antibiotics for a female?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't. No, I don't think so. No? I mean, my thoughts are, it's just like, it's like you and I taking antibiotics. Just you have a cold, you take antibiotics. I mean, you just don't. That's not a good thing to do. Here's the problem with antibiotics. If you take an antibiotic, it does wipe out some of the good bugs that are inside you, and it gives an opportunity for some of the not so good bugs to replace them and get you to have other kinds of problems. The other thing about taking antibiotics is that you get antibiotic resistance. It's us in general, as society, we take too many antibiotics for the wrong reasons. So I think that generally that one should only give antibiotics out if you know specifically what you're treating. You should continue the entire course. You don't just take it for a couple of days, feel better, and stop taking it. You take it for 8-10 days. And maybe there's times to take antibiotics when things are really in bad shape, you don't know what the hell's going wrong, and nobody can diagnose anything, and the dog's in trouble, then absolutely maybe then you should give antibiotics. But otherwise, I'd only give antibiotics if you know why you're giving them, what you're trying to treat, and you're giving the right kind of antibiotic.
Well, remember, we knew someone that would give antibiotics before they bred the female, and also douche the female before they got pregnant.
So, yep, people who give a gentamicin vaginal flush to kill any bugs and things, what they're trying to do is to stop getting pyometra, vaginitis. If you have a history of a dog that's had pyometra, then I think to use that ahead of time to try to cut that off, or if it starts, might not be a bad thing to do. But I don't want to encourage people just to start taking antibiotics because I think you need to take antibiotics because you've got a good reason why you're going to take them. But yeah, so the worming thing, there's some evidence that dogs that don't have any evidence of worms still have worms. It's being kept under control by their immune system, but those worms are then passed on to the puppies, and that you can completely eradicate all the worms in them by using a product like Safeguard, which is the same thing as fenbendazole, that you give that to a dog. And one of the things that I've read, and I don't know if this is the right way to do it yet, one of the things I read was you give half the amount you normally give every day for 7 days before birth. I don't know whether that's the right way to do it or not. But the idea is you get to a certain level and just, you don't have a dog. Look, if you've got a dog that's got worms, treat the worms for sure. The point here is pre-treating before whelp to stop those puppies that are going to be born from having worms and getting a good start. I think it's probably a good idea. Anyway.
Yeah, you got puppies that aren't gaining weight. Sorry.
All right.
That aren't gaining weight, and they're eating, and then they're pooping a lot. There's a good clue that there's worms.
Yeah, so I think we're just going to end this whole conversation just talking about this puppies and generally what can you expect.
You can smell, it's got a pungent smell to it.
Well, now you're talking about you're talking about giardia.
Well, yeah, but there's also with worms too that you notice a different smell. But they're pooping all the time, and they're eating good, and they're running and playing, and they're not really gaining weight. That's a clue.
So most of the time when a puppy has worms, you can see the worms in the feces. So most tapeworm looks like little pieces of rice, or whipworms, you can see those. Hookworms, ringworm, by the way, is not a worm. I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
Certainly ringworm you can't see. A ringworm is actually a fungus on the skin. So you think it's a worm because it makes a little red thing. That's not another worm at all. But most of those things you can say. But look, here's the deal. You should worm your puppies 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, every 2 weeks before they leave, regardless of whether or not you think there are worms present. You should just do that. And then the treatment for that is to use Nemex 2 at 2 to 4 weeks, or you can use Pyrantel, same product, cheaper version of it. And then then you should start using things like Safeguard at 6, 8, 10 weeks. Heartworming medication, there's products that you can buy products. Be a little bit careful about using those on pregnant dogs. But anyway, Tammy was talking about, so there's other things that aren't worms that are gut parasites.
Now you're going to talk about giardia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Now that's got like a nickel smell, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got a metallic smell to it.
Real yellow.
It's got a kind of a metallic kind of a smell to it, and the poop tends to be a bit slimy.
Yes.
Blood tinged and slimy.
Yep. And if you don't take care of that real quick, you hear people talking about their puppies, their rectum, what do you call it?
Oh, they can have a prolapse anus.
Prolapse, yeah.
Yeah, you can get a dog in a real problem.
You need to take care of this big time. Anytime you got a dog with runny mess, you take care of it. So you don't have other problems.
So the thing about what happens with giardia is it attacks the lining of the intestine, and as it gets inflamed, the dog doesn't get much nutrients. It passes right through the dog in the forms of diarrhea.
But if they have so much diarrhea that you see blood, it's because it's...
And it's not easy. We've many times been to the vet, and we think we've got giardia. They do what's called a fecal flotation, and they come back and say, there's no giardia. Well, now what we do is we do a Giardia snap test. We sell that product. It's about, I think it's $79 for 5 tests. It's not very expensive.
On My Breeder Supply.
On My Breeder Supply. All you do is it comes with everything you need. Take a little bit of poop, you put it into a little cylinder that's got some fluid in it, you mix it up, take a little dropper that comes with it, put it into the window of the test chamber, and 5 minutes later it tells me they've got Giardia. That's the way to do it. And I mean, the common things that you will see with puppies are Giardia and Coccidia. Coccidia we have been using for some time. I never can pronounce it right. Tolseril.
Yes.
It's a white liquid. Anyway, that stuff is a good pre-treatment for Coccidia or Albon. Anyway, I'm getting a phone call, so I've got to run on you. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.